Hi everyone, Brianna here. It's great to connect with you again. Today I want to dive into a boardroom strategy that almost every large-scale food distributor, brand owner, and retail group in Europe uses. It's a strategy that looks absolutely perfect on the financial spreadsheet, but silently creates a massive ceiling when it comes to product innovation. I'm talking about the classic multi-vendor strategy, or what we commonly call not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you look at the customs and shipping data of major international food brands, you can see a very consistent pattern. They spread their annual volumes across 4, 5, or sometimes 10 different processing factories across Asia. On paper, this is a brilliant risk management move. It protects the brand from geopolitical shocks. It prevents any single factory from having too much leverage over prices. And it ensures that if one region has a climate issue or supply crunch, another region can step in to fill the gap. It keeps the supply chain moving and it keeps things safe. But let's look at the hidden trade-off of this model. When you spread your volume so thin across a distributed network of transaction vendors, you inadvertently create a different kind of vulnerability. You eliminate your supply chain's ability to innovate. You trade away long-term market differentiation for short-term logistical security. Today, let's talk about why fragmented sourcing network naturally stifles R&D, and more importantly, how global brands are restructuring their partnerships to build what I call an elite co-creation journey on the factory floor. To understand why a fragmented supply chain kills innovation, we have to look at the psychology and the economics of standard processing factory. When a global brand distributes a small percentage of its total volume to a factory, the factory views the relations as purely transactional. To them, you are a specification buyer. You send over the sheet of paper with exact instructions. The shrimp must be sliced exactly this way. The breading percentage must be exactly that. And the packaging must use this specific design. The factory's only job is to replicate that blueprint as cheaply and as quickly as possible. They are operating in what I call the pure processor loop. In this loop, there is real incentive for the factory to think outside the box. Why? Because innovation requires an investment of time, like capacity and raw materials. If a factory doesn't have a deep, concentrated commitment from a brand, they are not going to stop their high-speed production lines to test a new temperature batter formulation or experiment with a cleaner ingredient profile that matches changing consumer tastes in Paris or Frankfurt. They simply wait for your instruction. If your internal R&D team in Europe doesn't hand them a blueprint, the product remains exactly the same after year. And the dangerous of this setup is that your brand ends up selling the exact same commodity products on your competitors. Because here is the reality. Your competitors are likely sourcing from the exact same distributed network of factories using the exact same standard industrial specifications. When everyone is buying the same standard I could apply, the only thing left to compete on is price. Your brand gets dragged into a race to the bottom, losing its premium position in the market. The silo effect here is that your European marketing team is battling for new exciting culinary concepts to capture retail market share. Maybe a new value-added mix, an authentic glaze, or a unique finger food line. But your distributed supply chain is structurally incapable of giving you anything that isn't already on the standard menu. So, how do smart supply chain leaders break out of this commodity trap? without exposing themselves to single source risk. The answer lies in dedicating a specific portion of your sourcing portfolio not to volume monsters, but to a strategic sourcing specialist, a dedicated partner who operates as an extension of your own R&D department. Instead of treating the factory as a silent executioner of paper specs, a co-creation model integrates the factory's technical team with your brand's culinary vision from day one. When you anchor a strategic partnership with a facility that possesses deep local raw material expertise and agile processing capabilities, the entire dynamic changes. Here is how that collaboration looks in real life. First, the partner doesn't just ask for your specification sheet. They analyze your consumer market. They understand that European consumers are looking for clean labels, reduced sodium, or specific crispy textures that hold up well in a retail air fryer or processing catering kitchen. Second, because the factory is agile and deeply committed, they can run small batch testing. They can play with different raw material sizing, test unique value-added coatings like specialized temperature or breeders formulations, and refine the cellular integrity of the product through advanced freezing technologies like single frozen processing. And they can advise you reverse product development. They can look at your target retail price on the supermarket shelf in the Europe and design the product's technical space from the factory floor upward. Hit the measure perfectly without compromising the sensory experience. Of course, when you have an elite team on the ground doing the heavy lifting of raw material R&D, your internal team in Europe doesn't have to guess what's possible. You gain a massive time to market advantage on launching exclusive proprietary lines under your premium labels months ahead of the competition. At the end of the day, diversification is a vital tool for supply chain stability. No one is suggesting you abandon your security networks. But diversification should never come at the expense of your brand soul, which is its ability to innovate and stand out on the retail shelf. The brands that will rule the consumer market in the coming years and those that realize a product specification sheet is just a bare medium. The real value is created when you find a manufacturing partner who can think like a brand strategist, someone who understands that operational discipline on the wet floor must match the creative ambition of your marketing team. When you bring the two worlds together, your supply chain starts being the cost center and becomes the most powerful engine for growth. I'm Brianna from my feminist factory. Forget the paper specs. Real quality is proven in the frying pan. If you're tired of inconsistent products, the same major address I will send samples straight to your R&D team. Or come to Vietnam and see our production for yourself. It's your corn. Thank you so much for your time today and let's build something extraordinary together. Thank you.